Hi there, this is Ansu from Ivytree Studio, and today I'm sharing a little video that came from a live play date that we did in the club over on Facebook on our page there. And so I'm just showing you the intro to this video because the step-by-step is actually a couple of hours long. And it's still up there, so you can go watch it over on our Facebook page. You can find the links in our About section on our channel, and I will also leave a link down below to the video. So I'm just showing you my desk and a couple of things that I prepped for this session. And the basic idea was just to use my favorite magazine, the LillyB magazine, which is an Afrikaans Christian magazine, with beautiful photography always, by Henry de Wet. She's the photographer, and she is just an amazing girl, and just I love her approach to photography, and her stuff is always really beautiful lighting always in every shot that she takes. We dealt with her when the LillyB magazine did an interview of me and Sarita. I think it's about 2 years ago now, and so I had a great chat with her, and she's just an amazing person. So I'm using one of the photos in the magazine. I'm not sure if this one was done by Henry, but really loved this face and the color scheme in it. And so I'm playing around with a couple of things from gelatos and a little bit of waxy crayons and pastels and things, and just want to play. Started off selecting some printables that I wanted to use, some Ivytree Studio Cute Cuts, but then in the end I just decided I want to just plain do art. And so instead of mixing everything there, I decided to just use the art product and do the face. So I'm using my little light pad. You just plug it into an electric source. It's a USB point, so just plug it in, and it's got a couple of light settings. And I'm using some of our prompts from our prompt and rewards kits. You can find this in our shop. That just gets you going. It's just a starting point that gives you a little bit of direction. So I'm just doing the outline with a pencil just to find the placement of the eyes and the basic face. So the idea was not to copy this photograph or this face in detail, but just to use it as a starting point and use it as inspiration for the color scheme and the mood of the artwork. Alright, so what I'm doing is just taking my pencil and just going over the face and shaping things. And here is where I look at the picture, but I don't really copy it. I'm trying to give this artwork my personal thumbprint. So I like to accentuate the eyes always. It feels like it makes the artwork come alive. And then I change things to create a little character that is new and fresh, and just adding details and using my pencil to do this, just to create that basic background layer. And the idea of this new series that I'm starting, I'm calling it Copy Paper Creations, is to challenge girls to make art on any surface, even something flimsy like just plain old copy paper. It's affordable, it's readily available, and it is something that you can use in art making as well. You can create your own journals with it. I do this successfully a lot, and adding layering to it, whether it's art product or paper, doesn't really matter. In the end, you will have a satisfying art experience. So if we talk about gel medium, what does gel medium do? It gives you a surface that you can add art product to. So all I'm doing is I'm just preparing this plain old copy paper with gel medium, and it gives it that perfect layer for me to protect the copy paper, because I'm going to work with wet mediums, and copy paper is very flimsy and it can degrade and fall apart. So the moment that you add a little glue base to it like gel medium, then it just changes the game for you. So it protects that piece of paper and you can add your art product to it. So now I'm just playing around with new watercolor palettes that I bought. This was kind of a shimmering one, and the next one is just a cheap version I got on Takealot just to play around with it. And I'm testing out the watercolor quality and just see if it's good enough for my copy paper creations. And I always revert back to my Reeves vintage color palette, watercolor palette that's falling apart, but it's just wonderful quality, and I think it's over 20 years old. And I'm also testing all my crayons and Faber Castell gelatos as well, and some acrylic paints. So I choose my coloring and that's it, and then I just start. I dry the gel media, make sure it's dry when I start the first layer. And I actually should have taped this piece of copy paper just a little bit more to my craft sheet, but it's fine. And what I did was, I have this wonderful washi, broad washi that has got florals in it that creates a wonderful background layer for making art. So I just added that washi into the artwork. So you can just add offcuts of your pattern paper all over this girl. You can actually start by preparing your page just with pattern paper and then paint over it, but it makes tracing a little bit difficult. So definitely wanted to just start with a drawing and create art from scratch. And I love using my stencils. The Ivytree Studio stencils gives me a lot of texture, and so I'm just loving to add little corners to my artwork here and there, just to add that little dimension. And my voice is going, so I just want to keep going now. So sorry to have to clear my voice. I just don't want to stop this video and start again. My voice is not used to a lot of talking, and all the videos that I've been doing is really taking its toll. So love that little texture up in the hat, and that shines through up to the end of the artwork. You will see that. So the little florals that I added in there. So it's starting to come together. You can see the color, and it's already pretty, just with the green and the yellow and little pops of pink here and there. But there's a lot more coming. So adding watercolor, playing with my Reeves paints, really great pigment. I wish that we could find the color palettes, or the watercolor palettes in South Africa, from the Reeves brand. You can find the tubes, but I don't really like the tubes. I have a little palette that I can personalize with little blocks and things, but I would love to have a full palette with a range of colors from the Reeves brand. It's really, really excellent quality. I've been using this, was a loaner from my sister Sarita, and I'm just using it and using it and using it and going back to it again and again. So if you purchase the quality watercolor, it's always worth it. Alright, I'm just adding watercolors and just working from the corners to the back to the middle. And I can't really say that I've got a process, I just feel it through. I think it's really an intuitive process, and it depends on the mood. And if you look at the eyes right now, you can see that my eyes are not really level. So that is something that I find with my own artwork, that I tend to kind of not struggle with, but it ends up like a little Picasso, that the eyes are not really in the position that they should be, and it's not like I don't know where to place them. So I think it's just a brain thing that I end up having my eyes a little bit out of balance. And because it's a mixed media kind of a whimsical little artwork, I'm not really too bothered. And like my friend Marta Lipovska says from Maremi Small Art, this is not supposed to go hang in some fancy museum somewhere. It's just for me, just for fun, and just enjoying it. So the response to this artwork was so great that I felt like I wanted to create a printable. And so in the new year I decided to just use her and zoom into those textures that I created with all of the different mediums that I was using, and they are just yummy. So I decided to create A4 papers with the zoomed in details, and I've been printing that, and I think I'm going to love using those just background textures in my journaling and in my Bible journaling and my art making. So the idea is to create more art with this little girl, so she keeps on giving. And then just the process of continuing and adding rainbow colors to my artwork, playing with that face and just faffing with it until I feel like I've added enough texture to it and dimension and lined it properly, and so that everything feels just right. And I'm just taking off the washi and just drying her off. I think I'm kind of to the point that I'm happy with what I have here. And the last part is always to come in with a darker color. It doesn't have to be black. In this case I was just using a Sharpy pen because it's kind of an art journaling experience. It doesn't really matter. And I find with the pens that I've been testing out, I have the Faber Castell big white pens and black and so on, but I feel like that the Posca pens are much more popping, and I don't think at this point I had the Posca pen yet, so I can really recommend that for art journaling. It really covers and pops really well. So just adding some color to her cheeks a little bit, playing around with that until I'm happy. I think I ended up using some crayons there, or gelatos, I'm not sure. And my girl is nearly done and nearly finished. So I hope that you are going to try this little artwork. She's in the shop. You can purchase the art print, so she's in A4, the original size, and also I used her in different little layouts, and there's tip-in cards, and there's the texture papers, and lots of little elements, all in the color scheme that fit this artwork. So you can play with her, add it to your Bible journaling, and I'm just explaining about the 3 prompts that I was using and giving you a close-up walkthrough of the textures with the stencils and all that color. And I love using all of the crayons that I selected for this purpose. So I will try to link some of the products down below, but you're welcome to ask me questions, and you're also welcome to go and watch the full process where I talk about everything, and you'll have all the details and the products that I used. I will definitely talk about it, or I have talked about it in the full walkthrough play date that we have listed over on our Facebook page. So just zooming in there into that hat with the florals, really loved it. You can't really tell you know, where all the layers begin and where they end. It's just, it flows into each other, and there's lots and lots of texture even in the lines. They're not solid black lines, so there's a lot of emotion in this artwork, which I really loved creating. So a little blur there in the end, but it's definitely the end of the video, and I'm so happy that you stayed until the end. So if you want to know more about this artwork, you can pop over to our Facebook, and we'll see you in the next one.